Hey everyone, welcome to Azuria Plays. My name is AJ, and today we're diving back into the Egglocke challenge run. In the last episode, we had a battle with Hop as we left Motorstoke to head over to Route 7, where we had a couple of unfortunate encounters. A week later, and I'm still not over poor Tail's demise, things didn't improve much once we made it to Circhester, as Melanie managed to take down another 2 team members before we managed to wrestle the ice badge from her. Let's hope this week goes a little bit better. As usual, the link to the Egglocke playlist is down in the description below, so if you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, go check them out now. To kick things off this week, it's dinner time. After the battle with Melanie, Sonia wants to go for dinner, and more than likely give us some revives to yet again taunt us that other Pokemon are dying, and as much as I don't want to go, I suppose it's probably important for the story, so we head off to Bob's your uncle for some food. As we enter, we spy a tapestry in the back that looks like it depicts a very familiar Galar legend. Rather than let Sonia get all the glory for discovering the legends of the heroes, we try to throw her off the scent by drawing her attention to the magnificent poster of Bob. She almost falls for it, but after telling us not to confuse her, she shifts her focus back to the tapestry, and Sonia points out that the heroes look rather sad and wonders where the Sword and Shield Pokemon have gone. Am I the only one who can see that they're standing in front of graves, embezzled with a sword and a shield? Could that possibly be where the Sword and Shield have gone, and why the heroes are sad? Just a hunch. Hop then blurts out that we have met a Pokemon that could be one of the ones in question when we were in the Slumbering Weld, way back in episode 1. Sonia finds this interesting and wants to discuss it further as we eat, so we place our orders, chow down our food, before we head out to the hero's bath. Sonia tells us this is the spot where the heroes came to bathe their wounds after battle, and because we met a rare Pokemon, we might be able to become the next heroes, and that sounds like some not so subtle foreshadowing. Hop then wants to show Sonia a real heroic battle, so we dive straight into the fight with a slightly more balanced team than last time. Hop, having seen some sense, has brought back Wooloo and taken the time to evolve his beloved sheep into Double. We start off with Din, who quickly gets to work with a fake out that chips away some health and causes Double to flinch. But his steadfast ability kicks in, raising his speed, and thanks to the Perpetual Hailstorm, we're going to be taking a bit of damage at the end of each turn. Double starts the following turn with his favourite move, Growl, lowering our attack, as we counter with an Incinerate, burning away around half the sheep's HP. Another Growl and Incinerate leaves Din's attack weakened further, and the Horned Sheep Pokemon in 1 HP after the hail damage. Knowing he is going down either way, Double launches a reckless takedown that leaves Din at half health, while the recall takes its toll and knocks the sheep out of the battle. Knowing Double would die from the hail regardless, Din works in a nasty plot, bolstering her special attack stat. Unfortunately, the stat boosts were all for naught as Hop sends out his Inteleon. Din retreats from the battle, and Makar takes her place as Hop shows us his true power. Makar tanks the following snipe shot with ease, as the hail chips away some health from both Pokemon out in the field. Inteleon rushes in with a Sucker Punch, taking Makar down below half health, but he seizes this opportunity to counter with an impressive Pika Drain, taking down the Water Lizard in a single attack and restoring almost all of his lost health. Hop then sends out his Corviknight, which spells trouble for Makar, so we recall him as we send out Valoo to tank the incoming Drill Pick. His Mighty Fire Breath scorches the Raven Pokemon's armour, reducing it to a sliver of health as another Drill Pick leaves Valoo in the yellow. The hail damage then kicks in, bringing down the Raven and leaving Hop with 2. Hop then sends out his Pincurchin, and we get Charizard off the field before an electric attack can take him down. Elsa enters the fray as Pincurchin curses itself, raising its attack and defense at the cost of speed. Elsa then dons her acid armor to boost her defense as Pincurchin uses Curse to raise its stats once more. Elsa's Icy Blast weakens Electric Sea Urchin as its spark leaves Elsa paralyzed. Unfortunately, she succumbs to the paralysis, allowing Pincurchin to raise his stats once more. The two Pokemon then trade blows once again, bringing them both within one-shot range. Rather than risk losing Elsa if she falls foul to the paralysis once more, I swap her out for Makar. Its concussion uses Curse one final time before falling to the hail. Hop finishes up the battle with his Snorlax, and Makar starts things off with a Strength Sap to reduce the damage the sleeping giant can deal, as it scores a critical body slam that strips away well over half her health. Makar responds with another Strength Sap, restoring the majority of his lost health and weakening the following body slam. The two Pokemon then trade Giga Drains and Body Slams, until Makar emerges victorious over his foe and Hop's final Pokemon is left down for the count. That went a lot smoother than it did last time. After the battle, Hop seems a lot more upbeat and charges off to take on the Ice Gym once again, determined to get his badge this time. Sonia then says she is off to investigate the slumbering world and gives us nothing. What? No revives? Crewmates, there is an imposter among us. With that suspicious interaction behind us, we heal up and head back to Route 8 to fight the trainers that I had skipped on my way into town. After the battles, Deku evolves into Shiinotic, and we then press on to Route 9 where we catch a Pincurchin that we can trade it in for an egg. We get to work catching the egg, which turns out to be a Bronzor, and I decide to name it Twilight as it reminds me of the Twilight Mirror from Twilight Princess. That was a lot of Twilights in one sentence. Rather than push on through Route 9, I decide to take this moment to replenish the roster, since we lost quite a lot of Pokemon last time, and there's still quite a few Pokemon left that we can catch in the wild area. I first of all catch a Growlithe at Westlake Caxwell, followed by a Snorunt at the Giant's Seat, and finally a Butterfree at the Giant's Cap. I fly back to Circhester, trade the new catches in for eggs, and get to work in hatching them. The first of the eggs hatches into a Rookidee that I name Medley after the Earth Sage from Wind Waker, which makes her Makar's counterpart. Despite only being level 1, Medley is packing some serious power with Rock Smash and Sky Attack. It's a shame we didn't hatch her earlier in the run. The second egg catches into an Esper. I decide to name it Link, after the hero himself. While the third and final egg hatches into a Trubbish. As Trubbish is a literal pile of trash, I call it Tingle, after the worst character in the Zelda franchise. As we train up, Link evolves into Meowstic, and its Pokédex entry reads as follows. The defensive instincts of the male is strong. It's when they're protecting themselves or their partners that they can unleash their full power. I think that's quite a fitting description for Link. After all, he's always at his best when he's defending Zelda and the Kingdom of Hyrule. Twilight also evolves into Bronzong while leveling, and I use a Thunderstone on Jaws, allowing him to evolve into a Vikavolt. With our ranks replenished, and a few of our team members gaining increased strength, we head off to Route 9 to save a familiar looking scientist from the M Team. Team Yell decide it's their duty to protect Dreadnought and won't let anyone pass, so as usual, it falls to us to take them down a peg. The Team Yell grunt sends out a Lanoon, and we send out Snapper. We start off with a Rock Tomb to slow our opponent down, but suspiciously, we act first. Lanoon then uses Counter, a move that deals double the damage we just inflicted, and that's definitely not good. Lanoon thrashes against Snapper with all his might, but luckily, our trusty Rock Turtle hangs on with just 1 HP as the Rocket Helmet further hurts her foe. Snapper is buffeted by the hail. That's just cruel. Deku takes to the field, and one Dazzling Gleam takes Lanoon out of action as our opponent sends in a Pangoro. Unluckily for our foe, he's 4 times weak to fairy attacks, and a single Dazzling Gleam wins us the battle. So much for wanting to protect Dreadnought. one of these weeks, I managed to go one episode without losing a single Pokemon. Unfortunately, that's not this week. As a thanks for saving him, our scientist friend upgrades her bike so that it can now cycle on the water. But before we continue across the path, I head back to town to place poor Snapper in the graveyard and add Elsa back into the team. We battle our way across the frozen waters of Route 9, where we have a couple of close encounters, such as Jaws nearly getting taken out by the Innards Out ability, and Deku nearly getting obliterated by a heavy slam for a Whale Lord that would probably have knocked the planet off its axis. Despite those close encounters, we make it to Spikemuth, none the worse for wear. However, when we arrive, we find that the city has been put under local restrictions, and no one is allowed to enter or leave.
Hey, listen!
Marnie calls us over and says that if we beat her in a battle, she will show us her secret entrance to the town. And I can't help but feel that it might be the large opening behind her, but let's not jump to conclusions. Marnie specialises in dark types and starts off with a Liepard as we send out Agatha to hold the fort. Liepard uses Nasty Plot, increasing its special attack stat, and Agatha throws a pollen puff at his foe. Now, I can easily forgive you for thinking, what harm is in pollen? But hay fever is no laughing matter, and a single pollen puff incapacitates the poor leopard. Toxicroak enters the battle, and Agatha tags in Twilight, who is immune to the incoming poison jab. After his failed attempt at attacking, Toxicroak tries to swagger, but Twilight is having none of it, and he dodges the status move and counters with an extra sensory that leaves Toxicroak unable to battle. Scrafty is up next, and Twilight and Agatha swap positions yet again, and the incoming crunch leaves Agatha with little more than a scratch. Agatha dashes forward, and a single kiss drains his foe's energy while restoring his health to full. Too weak to stand, Toxicroak turns to the trainer's side as Marnie's ace joins the battle, but a single pollen puff ruins the hungry mouse's day and leaves us standing victorious. Having defeated her, Marnie stays true to her word and shows us the secret entrance to town, which, as suspected, was the giant gap in the wall right behind her. Against my better judgment, I head into Lockdown City for a chance at the Dark Badge, and this is 100% behaviour that I cannot condone, but I'll let it slide just this once. To take down the Dark Gym, I gather a team of Agatha, Deku, Girahim, Jaws, Macker, and Faloo. Agatha should make short work of most opponents in here with her fairy and bug moves, but the diversity of the team will allow me to deal with any unexpected threats. The puzzle in the gym is a simple one. Fight. We have to travel down this street, and the gym trainers, who are actually all just Team Yell members, challenge us periodically. Interestingly, while the trainers always appear as a tag team, we only actually have to fight one at each stage, except at the end where we have a single double battle. As we progress, we learn that Sonia has been here recently, as there's a rather suspicious Max Revive lying on the ground. That explains why she didn't give us any earlier. At the end of the street, we are treated to a rock concert by the leader of the Dark Gym, Piers, before he challenges us to a battle. Unlike the other gym areas, Spikeman's Stadium is a simple arena, like we would have seen back in the old days of Pokemon, and as such, we aren't able to Dynamax our Pokemon, which gives us one less thing to worry about. Pierre starts off as crafty, and we send out Agatha to let him do his thing. However, Piers takes a move directly from our playbook and uses Fake Out that deals a decent chunk of damage, while making poor Agatha flinch. Agatha, however, wastes no time in taking her opponent down to red health with a draining kiss, as Crafty throws some sand in her eyes. Agatha then whips up a storm of magical leaves that finish off her weakened foe. Piers exclaims that his Malamar is going to mess us up with his Contrary ability, which is an ability that reverses stat changes. But Agatha is having absolutely none of it, and a single pollen puff blasts the topsy-turvy Pokemon off the field. Next, it's time for us to face the proud high roar of Obstagoon, who likes to use the move Obstruct to prevent us from dealing any damage on the turn he uses it. Despite this, we land a couple of pollen puffs every second turn, and the proud high roar turns into a whimper as Obstagoon returns to his trainer with his tail between his legs. Last up is Skuntank, and Piers claims he doesn't care if everyone stinks after this. Lovely. Agatha has put in more than his fair share of work, so he swaps with Girahim, who will render any poison attacks useless. The Skuntank lets out a deafening screech to lower our defense. Girahim then shows Piers how you really fake out, knocking off a good chunk of HP while flunging his foe. Skuntank manages to connect with a sucker punch that severely weakens our iron cap, but its iron head is too much for the skunk to handle, as a single well-aimed hit takes it down. As it falls, the foul stench takes its toll on Girahim, leaving him in death's door, but still standing. With that, we have our 7th gym badge. Marnie appears, having watched her battle. In a heartwarming moment, Piers asks Marnie if she'd like to take over the gym for him after the Champions Cup. Marnie then tells him she won't be able to, as once she's champion, she won't have time to run a gym. However, she won't be claiming the title of champion if I've got anything to say about it. Marnie then asks us to leave rather than watch her battle, and I'm more than happy to oblige. As we leave town, we learn there are some issues in Route 9, and we are told to go and help out. However, it seems Leon has it all under control, so we aren't actually needed in the end. So while Leon deals with that, we're going to take a break. Join us next time. We'll be taking on the final gym leader to earn ourselves the final badge and earn the right to battle with the unbeatable champion during the Champions Cup. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.